think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done.
You gotta let it fade out, right? What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Crossover Thursday. I'm Joey Foster. Welcome to the voice of college football, West Virginia style. There's my buddy over there, Shane Statmiller. What's going on, Shane? How you doing tonight?
Doing good. I'm not in my normal office, so hopefully everybody can hear me okay, and we're going to have a great night tonight. We got some really great guests, and I'm really excited to hear their point of view. So
2 weeks ago, because we didn't do a show last week, it was 4th of July. 2 weeks ago, we started the crossover show, Penn State, Pitt, West Virginia, right? Three crossover rivalries. And so we had a Penn State guy on last time we did a show 2 weeks ago. So tonight we brought some Pitt guys on, right? And so we have Shane's good buddy, Mr. Joe, with us. How you doing, Joe? What's going on, brother?
Welcome, brother. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you. And we also have our resident Pitt fan who's everywhere that you might want to see a Pitt fan, which is Talkers Pitt. What's going on, Pitt?
What's up, everybody? Thanks for having me, Joey.
Yeah, it's great for you to be here. We've been trying to do a show together for a while, and he started a new job, and he's never gets any time off to come over. So anyway.
No.
All right, so we got big rivalry, right? We got Penn State and Pitt are a big rival. We got Pitt and West Virginia's big rivalry, and West Virginia and Penn State are a big rivalry. This year, West Virginia's got to play both you guys and Penn State. You guys are spared Penn State this year. You don't have to play Penn State, but you do have to play West Virginia. So tell me about your rivalry. Tell me something. Talk Pitt. Let me ask you a question. Which rivalry means more to you? The rivalry against West Virginia or the rivalry against Penn State?
They're both at an equal level right now, mainly because of two factors. One, the backyard brawl stopped being played for 10 years, and we've played Penn State multiple times within that 10 years, which brings me to the second reason we've played them more often. However, the hatred for Penn State from me runs much deeper than the hatred it does with West Virginia.
Mhm.
You same
I
way, Joe?
just
Actually, kinda. I do hate Penn State more. That is only because I don't give rats bottom end about West Virginia. I just don't.
And Joe
When you
is the
guys,
weakest link.
a
And
couple of
Joe's
years
the weakest link.
ago, you
I'm
guys had
kidding.
a commercial that aired in Pittsburgh, and it was it was about your alma mater, which is fine. I know a lot of folks from Pittsburgh who went to West Virginia. I love them. I love Shane, but you guys highlighted Interstate 79, and you said it's only 65 miles south of Pittsburgh. It's like, well, if you couldn't get into Pitt, maybe you can get into West Virginia. You know,
Well, different mottos altogether there, right? I mean, because West Virginia has a motto to educate Appalachia. So we take about anybody, just as long as you can walk into school and make an application, you can get into school there. Yeah. Pitt's a little bit different, y'all's academic level is like in the stratosphere up there. I mean, yeah.
not,
It
not,
is.
But
not
but
really.
we do have but we
Not
do have
really.
more Rhodes scholars. We do have more Rhodes scholars than you guys. So
Not really.
stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
Appalachia does not stop at West Virginia. Shane and
Well,
I both
no.
know that Appalachia continues well into Western Pennsylvania. So
Okay, yeah.
when my college buddies would make fun of West
But
Virginia, the cousin kissing and all of that stuff,
Yeah.
dude, you need to get out into the sticks a little further west. That's Appalachia too. It's
yeah,
Appalachia.
so what I'm saying though is our motto at West Virginia is to educate Appalachia. They take anybody. They'll
Yeah.
take any
Yeah.
student, right?
Yeah.
Thomas scholarship.
That right, so it's not like Pitt doesn't do that. You have to go to a lower university, get your grades up, then get into Pitt. Where West Virginia, you don't have to do that. So
Well,
anyway,
that depends. That depends. Are you going for the main campus or one of the satellite campuses?
well, that's just it though. Not many satellite campuses when they talk on West Virginia.
Yeah,
No,
we have.
Pitt has a lot.
Like you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we have a lot.
Yeah, Pitt has a lot. West Virginia doesn't have any. That's why our academics aren't high, right? We don't have anywhere for them to go to. No lower campuses.
So I have a question for Joe and Taka's Pitt. So I'll go to Joe first. If you had to pick a non-conference scheduled game for your team, would you want to schedule West Virginia or Pitt, or excuse me, or Penn State? Which would you pick out of those two if you had to schedule one? If you're the athletic director,
It depends on whether or not Neil Brown and James Franklin are coaching the teams. If James Franklin is coaching the team, I take Penn State every single time of the day.
and elaborate on that. I want to hear more about that. That's fantastic.
Now, what about Neil Brown?
I chose to play Penn State because I think James Franklin is a fraud. I think he's I'm trying to keep this PG. He's not a good coach. He's always out in front. He's always pressed and ready to go. He looks fantastic every time he gets in front of a microphone. I think my guy Narduzzi and your guy Neil Brown, whenever they get in front of a microphone, at the end of the day, they look like they worked. When Frank gets in front of the microphone, all he does is spit platitudes.
Yeah,
Well,
You're right.
Amen to that, Joe. He throws
made it
sunshine
short.
enemas up everybody's butt crack, and it's just used car salesman talk and coach speak, and he's the cheesiest. He probably wipes his ass and Cheez-Its come out.
I made a short about James Franklin last year he was standing outside his bus looking like a mafia boss, standing out there with his suit on and fixing his cufflinks and his tie, clasp, everything, just fixing everything, make sure that everything was perfect on him. I'm sitting there thinking, you're going to coach a football game, dude, and you're sitting there acting like everything is perfect. Everything's got to be perfect. I made a short on it because he does. He just looks like a mafia boss, and that's kind of what it reminds me of.
It's time to get dirty on Saturday afternoon. It is time to
Yeah.
get dirty.
I'm
You
with
don't
her.
look like you don't look like you ever want to get dirty when you're James
Yeah.
Franklin.
No.
I mean,
No,
he can't. He still can't beat Ohio State and Michigan. So I mean, so
You guys are reading my mind. You guys are reading my mind. Penn State with James Franklin they just can't overcome that obstacle. They are they're in the second tier of the Big Ten, and they're not even close to sniffing that top tier because James Franklin can't beat those two teams.
Don't tell that to Penn State fans. Don't.
Oh,
Tell
yeah,
I said it last
don't
week.
say that to them.
They're going to start arguing with you about attendance numbers. They're going to start. We get 110,000 people every week. Well, good for you. You're doing Happy Valley.
Stephen Kyle or whatever in the chat it says West Virginia and Pitt students got one thing in common. They wish they went to Penn State.
Yeah. And I wish I didn't start drinking at 18.
I wish everybody made better choices in life.
Yeah.
Going to Penn State was one of the best choices, or not going to Penn State was one of the best choices I ever made. I could have. 100% could have went to Penn State.
I never even considered Penn State. Never even thought about it. Not one time.
Yeah, and see that my answer is going to be the same as Joe, literally for that same exact reason. If Franklin's head coach, absolutely. If he's not, I'll schedule West Virginia. But just to wipe that smirk off of Franklin's face would be so good. That stuck up. I don't want to say evil because he doesn't seem like he's too bad of a person. He just seems like he's very cocky and thinking, oh, well, I coach Penn State football. I'm in the Big Ten. We've done this many New Year's Six bowl games. We've done that in the third. And every year he gets put in his place by the same two teams, Ohio State and Michigan.
And what's going to happen now since USC and Oregon and Washington are there?
Yeah.
I mean,
that gap's gonna. Yeah,
he's going to James Franklin and Penn State. They aren't going to fall much, but they're going to fall into what I call the irrelevancy category of the Big Ten. As if you're not in the top four, you don't mean nothing.
Yeah, they're going to be
they're going to be the
Arkansas
around in there.
They're going to be the Arkansas and South Carolina of the SEC, right? Arkansas, South Carolina. They're like down there in the middle of the pack. Nobody cares, So, that's what's going to happen to them. But anyway, so the crossover during crossover week, we brought the Penn State guy on. We talked about the thing. He says that Penn State has no rivals. There are no rivalries in Penn State. They are unrivaled. So, in other words, eat shit Pitt from Penn State too. Just to let you know.
Okay.
Well,
good on him.
Good on him. I mean, if he thinks Penn State isn't unrivaled, then I wonder how far the apple falls from the tree in his perspective. Must not fall very far for Penn State fans to sit up there and say they're unrivaled. Yeah, okay. Everybody hates you.
Well, until they play teams that are actually decent in the Big Ten, which is just a couple of them, and they end up losing to Wisconsin every now and then, and maybe a Michigan State. So I don't know. I don't think they're unrivaled. I mean, you'd have to have a pretty long list of national championships in the last 10, 15 years to make a claim like that. You know what I mean? That just seems
right.
Yeah.
So did anybody see anybody see Shador Sanders' big quote today that that
Yeah.
Colorado and you see this
It's
is Tuesday,
everybody's Super Bowl. Colorado is
right?
everybody's
Everybody's
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. So everybody's got Colorado circled on the calendar. That's their Super Bowl and stuff, according to Sanders. What do you
No,
think
they
about
got
that, Joe?
More,
Deion Sanders
more
circled
like
on the
that's
calendar.
when the circus comes in town.
Yeah, it's Deion Sanders, not Colorado. They don't got Colorado circled. They got Deion Sanders circled. Big difference.
But I'll tell you what, guys, I have watched that show on Prime, Amazon Prime, and it is entertaining. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion, and to kind of see what he did when he first got there and how full of shit he is, and it's entertaining. It's fantastic. I can't turn it off, and if they put more of it on, I'd watch it.
Oh
You know,
God.
I could not. Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't think Pitt's going to have a great team this year, but I think y'all could beat Colorado 11 out of 10 times.
Last year they might have gotten us and everything, but then again, here Colorado's had, even though they won more games than we did, obviously, well, not really much more, but they went 4-8. We went 3-9. The difference between Pitt and Colorado is Pitt's not in the shitstorm that Colorado is. Pitt has more of, or should I say, less of a spotlight to regroup and not have to worry about outside media pressure, while Colorado is just sitting there going, Shadur, 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 Shadur. With his watch and everything, and all they care about is looking good for the camera and everything. We don't want to ever see 3-9 again. It's like Colorado; they want to repeat 4-8 because that's just what they do. That's what they're used to. As much as we haven't been good over the years, we actually want to win. We don't care how we look doing it. We just want to win.
Well, let me ask both you guys a question then. So you're here, so let's talk about this conference realignment, right? So we know that Florida State and Clemson, probably North Carolina, probably Miami too. We know they're eventually going to leave the ACC. We don't know where they're going yet, but let's just say they're out there, right?
Yeah.
Pitt, what are y'all guys hoping? Y'all hoping the ACC survives and brings in like a Memphis and stuff? Just brings in Liberty and Old Dominion. Those schools, bring those schools in. ACC continues to live, and Pitt just stays there. Or are you guys hoping for a conference change yourself?
Absolutely not. I don't want to bring in the bottom feeders from the AAC. I don't want to bring in the Patriot. I don't want to bring in any of those folks. What I want is a true realignment that is based on regional rivalries. I want to see Pitt, Penn State, West Virginia, Ohio State, Michigan, Maryland, Virginia in the same conference, because that's what it used to be. Even when Pitt was an independent, we would play all of those teams. And it just, good old fashioned hate for a rival is good.
It is, yeah.
I don't give an F. Can I say the F word on this?
Yeah, you can say what you want to say. Hey, listen,
Okay.
this is an adult stream. This is an adult stream. So.
I don't give a fuck about SMU. I don't give a fuck about Oregon State. They're not rivals. There's nothing in that game. There's nothing in that game that interests me other than a win or a loss. What I like is build up. I like folks who don't like each other to get together for a Saturday afternoon and duke it out. And since I'm old and infirm, I can't fight anymore. So I'd much rather have the 19-year-olds do it for me. And my year-olds win. I want to see my 19-year-olds win. And I think we're either headed to 3 conferences the Big 12, the Big 10, and the SEC, or we're headed back to the days of old where there are true independents, where you can schedule whoever you want, and then we figure it out at the end. I don't think that's going to happen because there's too much TV money, but I think there's enough at the top 1/3 of the ACC, and we have to factor in the basketball part of this as well. There's enough teams in the ACC that sure we can be brought in to a different conference, and that's fine. But okay, all right, we're going to play Texas Tech this year. We're going to play Kansas this year. Great. I'll be there for it. I'll cheer for my team, but it doesn't mean anything. I would much rather go back to 2 or 3 out of conference games, some patsies, and teams that matter.
Yeah.
And that I think that Pitt, West Virginia, and Penn State should be in the same conference.
I agree with that, and you know, I agree with you. Like when we were all independent, you know, it was a lot better, and we had the beast of the East then, right? You know, whoever we felt like was the best team in the East was branded the beast of the East, and you know, and that's the way it was. Pitt was the beast of the East for a few years. Penn State was. West Virginia was. Syracuse was. Boston College was the beast of the East at one time. So I like that old term of beast of the East when everybody was independent. But like you say, with the TV money and stuff going on now, there's no way people are going to go independent. There's not enough money in it.
No. Somebody actually asked me if I saw Pitt going back to being an independent school, and as much or as beneficial as that could become, I don't see it happening. I see it doing more harm than good. Really, the only true benefits you get out of being independent is, I don't want to say you get to choose how good you are, but you get more say so on who you play instead of being stuck playing the same teams every single year. Because eventually, like Syracuse, like last year, we own Syracuse. We have beaten the crap out of Syracuse for the past 30 years. They've beaten us maybe 7 times. Eventually they're just gonna get tired of being beaten and start beating us. So I would rather if we go independent, I would rather us play teams we have never played instead of scheduling teams we have played quite often in the past 20 years. Now, with that being said, I even asked Joey this question, and he said he didn't think Pitt was a great culture fit for the Big 12. I would have to disagree, not because West Virginia's in the conference, just because we're not even in the Big 12 and your fan base doesn't like us.
Well, we don't like you because you're Pitt.
No, not you. I meant the other Big 12 fan bases.
Well, none of the Big 12 fan bases really like each other. I'm out here in right outside of Corvallis, and then I spent some time in Eugene. That's where I fly in and out of. So, you look at Corvallis, and it reminds me of Morgantown, but that's where it stops. I mean, not from the, it's just the size of the school and kind of it's quirky, but that's where it ends. I don't want to fly and be on a flight for 8 hours as a fan to watch college football. I don't want my team flying 8 or 9 hours to play college football.
Agreed.
And, that doesn't make any sense. Not only is there a 3-hour time change, there is, it's just, there's no history. Oregon State I don't think has ever played Pitt or West Virginia or Virginia Tech.
They did the Sun Bowl in 1999 or 2001. Okay. It was a fantastic game. It ended up being State 3, Pitt 0. So it was a fantastic game.
Wow.
Oh, the 3-0 game.
Wow. That sounds like an Oregon State game.
I remember
please
that
don't
game.
please
remember
don't
that game.
remind me of that game. I do not want to think about that game. I think about that game more than
That's
the
funny.
Western Michigan loss.
But, you know,
my
they
God,
redid
that
their
was so
stadium
bad.
here in Corvallis. It's gorgeous. It's, you know, very compact, but it has 2 levels. In fact, I used to stay, the last 2 times I was here, I stayed at the suites, the Embassy Suites, and it literally overlooks the parking lot and you can see the stadium. It's neat, but guys, it just doesn't have that, you know, not like going to, you know this, Joe, going into Blacksburg is an experience. You know,
Been there.
playing at Rutgers, you know, Maryland. I mean, those are games that you can get in a car and drive to, and, you know, drive back the same day. I mean, Blacksburg's a little bit of a haul, but you know what I'm saying. Like, you don't have to just make a freaking 3-day weekend out of seeing one ball game.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you, Shane. The only thing is, I think we're well past regionality as far as conference realignment goes, because with the way it is now, with USC and all those other teams now having to go from West Coast to East Coast to play football games, and even before that, when you guys went into the Big 12, where us Pitt fans are sitting here not trying to trash talk you, but we're sitting here looking. We kind of feel bad for you guys with the amount of travel you guys have to do.
I could honestly say for basketball, I would attribute 2 to 3 losses a year due to travel.
Oh, exactly.
For football, I might make the claim that there's 1 or 2 losses due to travel. At least maybe a 3-point, maybe even a touchdown swing, because of the just it's fatiguing. But my point is this. You know, they spend a little bit more money for travel. West Virginia does for their budget. But with Cincinnati and even Florida in the mix, you know, University of Central, UCF, you know, if Pitt, if Virginia Tech, you know, were to come into the fold, those would be games that would be always on the calendar because of the you know, distance, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's only, I've been to Blacksburg before. Me and my buddy drove down
like 6-7 hours.
2 years ago from where I live, because I live so far east outside of Pittsburgh that I border 3 different counties.
Yeah.
So as a West Virginia fan, I'll tell you that with this conference realignment deal, I'll be extremely happy if, when it's all said and done, the Big 12 also consists of Pitt, Virginia Tech, Miami, and NC State. Those 4 teams coming into Big 12, and Louisville. Right. Well, yeah, Louisville. Well, Louisville instead of NC State. How about that?
Honestly, I think, Louisville would be a better fit than NC
Louisville.
State.
Louisville for sure. You're right. So Pitt, Virginia Tech, Louisville, and Miami. Get me those 4 teams into the Big 12. Hey, I would be ecstatic with that. You know,
agreed. I honestly, though. Go ahead, Joe.
What are we going to call that conference? It can't be the Big 12 if there's 27 teams in it.
Well, there would be 20 at that point. We have 16 now.
There's
naming rights. It'd be 20.
That somebody's going to pay a lot of money to call it the Allstate Insurance Conference of Champs or some stupid name. It's going to be named whatever, you know, like.
It's going to be worse than the name now.
Yeah, you're right.
It's going to be so bad. It's going to be like how they went from Hines to Ackshire.
So here's the thing about it. So I'm okay with this naming rights thing. I'm fine with that. Hey, tell the name of it. I don't give a shit. Give us the money. Great, let's do it. Now, this other thing, the private equity firm, I'm okay with that if we leverage the money. In other words, if we help teams get out of the ACC and come into the Big 12. You know, there's this big money buyout, right? Hey, look, Florida State and Clemson There's no guarantee they're going to land the SEC or Big Ten.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen? They
I
went
think
out.
they're both going to go to independent.
They went out. If Florida, if the Big 12 would leverage this $1 billion that they're getting from a private investor, they'd leverage it and say, "Hey, Florida State, here's you $100 million. Hey, Clemson, here's you $100 million. Y'all can pay that and get out of the ACC. Come over here in the Big 12. Leverage that money to help the conference later on. That would help
No,
the
that's-
TV market."
That's
Well,
the only way we're going to get out of the conference before it collapses, is if somebody from the Big 12 or just any donor period forks over a portion of the fee that it takes. Because what is it, 300 million if we want to leave?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but talk is Pitt. Here's the thing: if 8 teams agree,
Mm-hmm.
then that's basically the way I
The
understand
end,
it.
yeah, the end of the conference.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if I'm not mistaken, if 8 teams, if I read correctly, if 8 teams or more vote to dissolve the conference, doesn't the fee go away? Or do
Yeah, and that's why it's important. That's why that date that SMU comes in is important, because
Yeah.
if they do it before that date, you have a better chance. So
they raise a lot of money. SMU, I got to give
do.
props to their fan base and their alumni, because I mean we got a very rich alumni fan base, if you want to call it that, but we don't got the alumni who are willing to fork over $159 million for whatever reason it could be. It doesn't matter what it is for. We have to raise taxes if we want to get something done here in Pittsburgh, which is the reason why we don't have our stadium.
I think that's gentlemen. I think that's a Texas, Louisiana, and Alabama type of sickness.
Yeah.
That they will just, it's just a cultural thing, I believe.
Gutter Pub. Hello, Gutter Pub. There's
Hello, Gutter Pub.
My co-host from Monday night trivia
Nice.
on this channel. So appreciate you being here, Gutters. Hey, so there's something I do need to touch on, because there was some really big news the last couple of days. So,
Mhm.
Big 12 Media Days wrapped up, right? Last couple of days, had some big news out of there. Every coach said they need to shore up their offensive line and their defensive backfield, and they'll have a successful season, or they'll set themselves up for a successful season. Now, that was every coach. So that was the breaking news. Every coach said the exact same thing, pretty much. So, and that's pretty much how it goes every year at Big 12 Media Days, right? But there was the Mike Gundy, and Ollie Gordon controversy there. So Mike Gundy doing nothing to Ollie Gordon, got the DUI, blew .1 whatever, way over the legal limit anyway. So doing nothing to him, he's not going to have to miss any games or anything. And then Mike Gundy made a boo-boo and said, "Hey, I've done it. We've all done it. We go out to a bar, we drink 3 or 4 beers, we go and get in our car and drive home."
This isn't 1960,
Oh.
Mike Gundy.
So Mike Gundy stuck his foot in his mouth, and yeah, there's some big backlash coming at him right now. So I don't know if anything's going to come of it. I don't believe it is, but still, he shouldn't have said something like that. Well, I do it all the time. I go out and have 3 or 4 beers and drive home.
Here's the problem, and I brought this up a couple years ago and got eaten alive. But when NIL became legal, y'all realize the DUIs among college football players have increased.
They have
Oh
money.
gosh, yeah,
They're not drinking at the house. They can go. out
yeah.
and
I
walk.
mean, they got money. Yeah,
Yeah, they got
That
money
money,
now, and they
yeah.
got cars handed to them. And then you got Henry Ruggs, perfect example. You got the 2 Georgia players who were just arrested for aggravated reckless driving under the influence. Like
Yeah.
Georgia players seem to have a problem with putting down the bottle every now and
The
again.
dogs.
I would have been born a Georgia fan if my mom still lived in Georgia.
Well, the thing about it is, I believe it's going on in every college town now. I think
It is.
that not every college town is created equal. In other words, if
No.
you're in Manhattan, Kansas, and the Manhattan, Kansas police officer pulls you over, and you're a star football player, he might have a tendency to let you go. Right now, I'm not saying they're going to do that, but I'm not, I'm not saying that's happening in Manhattan, Kansas by any means. I'm just saying, right? It's according to what city you're in, and and what those
Yep.
cops are like. So
Yeah, it's just gotten
it's happening.
worse. It's just gotten worse. I mean, it's like every other day I'm on Twitter and all I see is, oh well, this player got arrested for this or this player got arrested for that, and it's never anything other than drunk driving.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this going to become a problem.
You're glossing over a few felonies that some of our football and basketball players have committed there. Yeah. Stealing a car, keeping it for 6 months, changing the plates on it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, for that was who was that, Joe?
Oh gosh, I can't remember.
Hewley. It was John. It was Hewley. That's who it was.
Yeah, it was Hughley. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the problem with this is it's not so much the DUIs specifically. It's the fact that you're giving these kids way too much power, way too much influence when they're not
Yeah.
ready.
I agree.
I've got a 21-year-old. I've got a 15-year-old. So I understand the idea behind giving these kids as much as they can handle. But when you give them too much, they want to take more.
Yeah.
They want to take more, and that's what happens when you
True.
give them an unlimited leash. So there's no restraints because these kids don't care. They're making,
Well, there's
They
no
no
hammer.
longer. Yeah.
There's
They
no
just
hammer
don't.
because that they fall into
Yeah.
money.
dollars. They're making hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars. So they don't care. They think they're untouchable. And
Well, the Ohio State quarterback last year signed an NIL agreement that he gets a new Mercedes Benz every 90 days. A new Mercedes Benz every 90 days. Think about
90
that.
days.
Every 90 days.
Well,
He
you
gets a new
you don't
Mercedes.
want to get the oil changed. Those I had Mercedes, and I
I'm
remember
just
it
going,
needed it just brakes and tires are going to be $4,500. So that was the last Mercedes I had. So
yeah. I mean, it's like it's gotten crazy with NIL. In my opinion, it's just nuts, right? Now, is this going to help if they start becoming a part of the athletic budget for the schools, right? And let's say everybody's got a certain budget that they can have for their athletes. That might help to level the playing field. Do you think? I mean, and I
Well,
want
that's kind of what we do, Joey. Most people don't know that every Pitt football player on the roster that has a scholarship has an NIL deal of
well,
some
yeah, that's
sort.
about like it is anywhere. Yeah,
Yeah. So, but there's a limit. So if you're a starter, you obviously get more. If you're just a scholarship player who is waiting for his opportunity, you're going to make a little bit less. A lot of the companies, though, have put agreements into the NIL players deals and all that stuff that you have to do certain hours of community service or you have to work a shift in whatever company is giving you your deal. And that's what I like is we immediately put structure into our NIL fund. And that's what a lot of colleges and universities need to do, but they're so afraid because of the legal backlash that they're going to get if they even say, well, we would like for you to do this because you like this, like you said, guys, before, they can't touch these NIL deals. The universities, the coaches, everybody else is not allowed to touch them.
So, Tim Green got a question here. I have a question for the panel, please. How severe should punishment be for Ollie Gordon? And should there ever be one? That's my question. Personally, I think he should be suspended for a few games. Well, so here's my thought about that. Ollie Gordon's a very good football player, and he made a mistake, right? Now, is this a one-time mistake or is this a habit? And I don't know. I don't know Ollie Gordon, so I'm not going to pass my judgment here on that. But that's what I'm going to look at. If I'm Mike Gundy, I'm looking at, is this a habit? Is he drinking a lot? Is this becoming a pattern? And
Yeah.
if it is, then I'm seriously thinking about, okay, we got to get rid of you for a few games without a doubt. But if it's not a habit and it's just a mistake, an obvious big time mistake, you should never drink and drive. That's probably the
Yeah.
worst thing in the world you could ever do. But let's say it's a mistake and he had to drive and he just had a couple hundred yards to go to his house and he got caught. Okay, so he screwed up. I don't think anything should come out of it than it already has. The man's already going to pay for it, right? He's already having to pay big legal fees, have lawyers. He's having to protect his reputation, having to protect all that. He's paying for this in other ways.
Yeah.
So I think the punishment right now fits the crime. Now, if it comes out that this has been a pattern or a habit for him, then yeah, something obviously has to be done.
Well, it happened, Joey. It happened. I don't know when did it happen. Didn't it happen in April?
I
It
think
just happened a couple weeks ago, just a few weeks
Yeah,
ago.
So, it's not during the season. I would say maybe the first game, first two games. I wouldn't probably do any more than that. Something has to be done, though. And I agree. Yeah,
I
they're
think
young
they
men, they're gonna make
punished them
mistakes.
behind the scenes, Shane. I do think they punished them behind the
Absolutely,
scenes.
but you have to make a public. You have
Yeah.
to, you can't just.
Well, like I say, he's being punished, right? I mean,
Yeah,
look,
yeah.
he's one of the biggest names in college football right now, right? He's a
Yeah.
Heisman Trophy front runner, really, if you think about it.
Well,
And so he's paying for this. I mean, his name's being run through the mud over this, so he's
well, I
paying.
don't think he gets a Heisman now.
Oh, definitely
not.
not. No,
That's off
he's
the freaking table.
yeah,
Come on
he's
now.
off the table.
Well, I don't
'Cause
know.
they're-
I don't know because I think this happening before the season, like months before the season starts. By the time the season gets here, I think if he can come out and light up the scoreboard and light up the yardage and stuff, he'll be right back in the Heisman front runner race. And I don't think it'll
I don't
affect.
know. If I had a vote, it would. I would not vote for him.
Yeah, I
know.
wouldn't either. I'm not going to give the Heisman to somebody. Look, he didn't commit any felonies. Nobody got hurt. Yada yada yada. I'll give that to him. But I'm also not going to give somebody the Heisman less than a year after being arrested for driving drunk.
And not to defend Gundy for what he said. Getting back to Joey's point of is it a problem or is it a one-time thing? When you get caught, and I'm not going to say from any experiences that I may have had, if you get caught, you've done it 10 or 12 times before, at least.
Yeah.
Joe, you're a smart man. You're a smart man.
That's yeah.
It is a problem. It is.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Right.
Because it's like,
I agree. I agree.
yeah,
Hey, boys,
it's.
I'm gonna have to hop off here.
I am too. Well, hold on, Shane. Let's just go ahead and end the stream.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and end it and stuff, Shane. I know you got to go, so I'm gonna let you out of here first. Tell everybody what you got going on tomorrow night and what's going on.
So tomorrow night, Joey's going to be filling in for me because I will be heading back to the East Coast. I'll be catching a red eye. But the following week, I plan to interview. Listen to this. I'm hoping to get them for Thursday. 2 Division I football players and their father, and they're going to discuss how the portal works. NIL. One of them's going to be a senior at Oklahoma. The other one is going to be a freshman at Ohio State. And we're going to discuss the ins and outs of the NIL, what it's like for a parent to be to have two boys that are going to play ball, and how it has differed from 4 years ago to now, the recruiting process. So a lot to cover. Going to get them on the books, going to have them Thursday, and then Friday we're just going to talk West Virginia football.
That's right.
Next
All right.
week.
Sounds good. Well, Shane,
Well-
thanks, man. Appreciate you being here tonight with us. All
Thank
right.
you.
So talk with Pitt, man. Why don't you tell everybody where to find you at and things?
You guys can find me here on YouTube at Talk is Pitt, or on any social media platform, including Instagram, at Talk is Pitt. I do tomorrow I will be starting my schedule prediction videos rollouts, so I will be starting those. With Cincinnati, I'll be starting with Cincinnati, West Virginia, and North Carolina. Those will be the 3 videos I roll out. I pretty much preview and predict the schedules of all the opponents that Pitt is playing, and that's what I got going on right now.
All right. Sounds good. Hey, Joe, man. You got a platform, Joe? You do videos or just?
I do not. I am one of Shane's buddies from high school, and I'm just here because I like talking about college football. So the next time you see me, it will probably be on Shane's podcast.
That's right. All right. Well, you're always welcome here, Joe. Appreciate you coming on the night. Talk
All
a
right,
bit.
great.
Appreciate you as well.
No problem.
Everyone, we appreciate every one of you being here tonight. We thank you so much. And here's a little outro for you, and we will see you next week.